Hi guys, this is Alice here. I'm a day behind in getting this video out, so I apologize for that. However, it looks like we have a really great week ahead of us, or a really interesting week. Some work ahead of us, but the work is going to bring about significant changes. And just to show everyone this one card that we have here on the masculine side. Look at this. We have the commitment card. So we will talk about that in just a little bit and what that means for the masculine as well as the feminine. But before I get into the reading, I just want to thank everybody who has subscribed to my channel or liked my videos or left a comment on any of them. I greatly appreciate all of you guys' support. And I would also like to thank the 4 individuals that I've been working with the past week or so, the 4 people who had won the free reading. I could not have asked for a better group of people to work with as I get started on individual readings with people. And the readings, the things that came up for them in the reading are just, in my opinion, really beautiful. They have really great years ahead of them, a lot of change, but really great years. Not really great year ahead of them. It's not plural. 2017 is 1 year. But yeah, I think that's all I was going to say before I get into the reading. Oh, no, it's not. I am going to actually extend the date for when I will stop accepting orders for the 2017 yearly reading, either the general or twin flame. So right now I'm offering a 66% discount. So if you want the general reading for 2017, which just kind of focuses on your own individual energies for the year, and you can pick specific parts of your life that you'd really like to look at in depth, that's going to be $33 until July 14th. So today was actually going to be the last day that I was going to accept offers on that reading, but I've extended it to the 14th in case you guys would like to check that out. For a twin flame reading, it is set up in the same way that I did the collective reading for 2017 for twin flame energies. So there's the collective energies, and then there's our 8 cards, or at least 8 cards for each season, and that is $44 at a discounted price until the 14th of January. So if you would like to check that out, I will leave the link to my website below where you can see how it is that you order one of those readings. I'm also going to start doing essence readings for people, so there'll be a few different options for that. And what the essence reading is I actually did this. I did a reading like this for myself, and I found it to be really beneficial and helpful, and especially at this time of the year when we're setting up resolutions and changing the way that we want to do things, right? At the beginning of the year. So it was really helpful for me to see the dichotomy of energy that I had within myself. And I think that reading is actually set up similarly to this one. So if that was to be an individual essence reading for me, it would have a card here in the center, and it would be kind of set up to where the duality of the individual's essence is kind of set up on both sides. So I did a few of those readings for different people, and each time there was a different there was a definite dichotomy between one end of the essence, or one aspect of the essence compared to the other one. And it really helped me to see aspects of myself that I didn't even recognize were there necessarily, so that I could start to integrate them more fully and become more authentic. So those readings I'm going to start offering, and I will also leave the link below for the different types. I will have an individual one, which is just for you, twin flame, which is an individual one for you, and then an individual one for your twin. There's also a union one, which looks at the essence of your union together. And then there is a package deal, which has all 3 of them kind of lumped together. So if you're interested in that kind of a reading, do check out my website, and the information will be there for how to order them. Okay, now I think we can get started for real. I didn't want to use any tarot cards this week. It didn't feel right to do, so I didn't. This week, as I said, showing you this card earlier, on the masculine side, the commitment card, this week is all about commitment on both ends. And it's showing up a little bit differently for both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I'll start at the center because that's where I start when I pull the cards, and then I work my way out. On this side we have the divine masculine, and on this side we have the divine feminine. And then this is kind of like the union energy for both of them. So we have dreams and creativity. So this week is all kind of about taking the resolutions that we set at the beginning of the year. And again, we had that new moon energy at the very end of December, that new moon in Capricorn, which was kind of setting up that that energy of really looking inside of ourselves and figuring out what things we needed to change in order to get the things that we wanted. And again, that was a great energy to start off the year with a new year. And so that energy is still lingering here. So if you want to check out, if you haven't seen the new moon reading and you want to check that out, it actually has a lot of ties thematically to what we see here today. But this week is all about going inside of ourselves, especially for the feminine. The masculine, it seems, they're going inside of themselves to find a certain kind of balance, but it's also, I feel, manifesting a little bit outwardly. But for the union, it's definitely going inside of ourselves to identify what it is that we want and who it is that we really, really are. Not who we've believed ourselves to be our entire lives, but the essence of who we really are. And we're creating that. We're going to start creating our dreams this week. This is a week where things are starting to be cemented. And so you really want to get clear about what it is that you're going to start putting in place. Because there's a certain feeling of, I've been feeling it a lot lately, but it's like this week it's coming to like a head. It's this energy of really starting to cement and stick down these things that we're wanting to manifest, and this is when they're really starting to show up, like on the inside, so that they will manifest outwardly later. So this week is all about creating our dreams and how we're going to go about doing that. Now it's a little bit different for the masculine and the feminine. So to kind of like start off here, we have, for the divine masculine, we have the map maker of destiny. And on the card it says authentic purpose, inspiration, and free will. So there's, and I see it in these cards here as well, there's a certain sense of, I get the sense of it like initiation, or the sense of the divine masculine having this map of his life, and he's kind of like had it his entire life, like in his pocket. It's just kind of been like sitting there, but he hasn't really like realized that it's there or looked at like where he's going consciously. And so it's like he's just now finding that map and seeing where it is that he's been and where it is that it's taking him. So I'm actually going to go ahead and read the description for this card from the book, because I think this one's especially helpful. And I might read a little bit for the feminine's card as well, but I would definitely want to read this one. All right, so it says, when the map maker of destiny appears, it's a sign that you're being given an opportunity to transform fate into destiny. At birth, each human being is given a unique map with myriad paths that intersect with one another. Your map of destiny shows all the places you're meant to visit, places where you will be challenged to evolve into the highest aspects of yourself. Remember that you're a spark of the divine come to earth to experience itself in human form. As such, your path is unique. It's also somewhat preordained, and fate represents the events in your life that were meant to happen and that you can't change. Fate is transformed into destiny according to how you respond to the circumstances. Destiny offers you the ability to make great opportunities out of fated experience, so free will and choice are possible at certain points on your map. Now is one of those times. You're faced with a relationship or circumstance brought to you by fate. How you respond will lead you into your perfect destiny. Your ally may assume the form of a soulmate, come to heal your heart and be your companion. Perhaps your challenger makes you face the things within you that must change in order for you to express your highest good. Maybe fate brings you an ally in the form of a wonderful new project or a challenger in the form of a failed business. No matter which form they take, all are perfect expressions of fate inviting you into your destiny. Pay attention as your map unfolds now, and remember that fate makes the map, but destiny is determined by the manner in which you engage your journey. So again, it's the sense of the divine masculine having like this map in his pocket or having it like nearby or close to him his entire life, but not really realizing that it was there. And the sense of him finding it and seeing that like he has been encountering these fated things in his life, so these fated relationships or circumstances or these obstacles or issues or gifts that have been fated in his life. And he's kind of like assessing those and looking at all these other places that he's meant to go on the map and seeing how it is that he wants to get there. So again, it's all about like certain things are fated. We have decided before we come here what our journey is kind of going to look like, but we also have the free will to decide how it is that we get to those places and how it is that we perceive them and how it is that we commit to them and engage with those energies or with those places or those people that we are meant to meet or deal with, right? So I'm getting this definite sense that the masculine is starting to kind of see where it is that he's going. And I think he's starting to kind of figure out how it is that he wants to get there. As he's looking at this map, I get the sense that he is kind of coming into this. There are some emotions of guilt or the sense of guilt that is kind of popping up. It could be because we have the guilt card here. And it says on here, I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. So it's the sense that he might have this sense of guilt of not having recognized before now the things that he had encountered in his life or the opportunities that he had. But there's a sense now that he does kind of recognize it, and he's going to release anything from the past that doesn't help it along, doesn't help him along as he grows and goes to the other destinations that are on his map for him. And I have this certain sense of commitment that he's committed to changing. He's committed to making it to the places that he hasn't been and doing it in a way that is more conscious. So this could manifest differently for different individuals. The level of consciousness with which this commitment is taken could vary. So for some, it could be that they do decide that they are like committed to the divine feminine. For some, it could just be that they're committed to becoming like their authentic selves, which in essence helps the divine feminine anyway, right? Because the more we get in touch with our authentic selves, the closer we get to our twin. But there is this sense of commitment to the path and of a sense of commitment of going along that path in the most conscious way possible, if that makes any sense. We also have the You Are Not Alone card for the divine masculine. And for me, this kind of just feels like he's realizing that like the map of his life and where he has never actually been alone. This could be that he kind of sees all the instances in which the divine feminine were there for him all along his path, and can see where, like, how it is that she will be a part of all the other points of his journey as well. Or it could just be that he is recognizing, outside of the twin relationship, all the opportunities that he's had and all the people who have been there for him in each situation. So there's a certain sense of reflection and realizing that he hasn't really been alone, because I think the divine masculine has a certain sense of, like, this feeling of, like, isolation or loneliness that I've felt pretty strongly in the past, but it seems like it's being recognized now, or it's starting to shift a little bit. And he's realizing that he is the one who's put himself in that isolation and that he can change that. And this is all starting to happen as he comes more into balance with himself. So we have this card here, the yin yang, and it's all about this balance of the different energies, the feminine and the masculine energies within himself, which will help to bring a balance between the twins as well. And then we have see God in all things. Okay, and on this card it says, put yourself in slow motion and observe everything and everyone through the lens of, this is sacred and it speaks to me. How does that change your environment? Your goal, to learn the spiritual practice of seeing God in all things. I feel like this goes back to this Mapmaker of Destiny card. It's the sense that the divine masculine is starting to see how he has been on this sacred or spiritual path the entire time. And it's like he's starting to reevaluate or starting to change his past perceptions and his present perceptions so that the future will start to hold different things for him as well. I think he's starting to see that, like, the way that he has perceived things in the past hasn't been for his ultimate good. So yeah, there's a certain sense of creating these dreams, or I think he's starting to become more empowered within himself to realize that he's not on this strictly fated path. He can create what it is that he wants at the destinations that at the destinations that he does need to go to throughout his life. He also has, like, this free will to create what he wants along his path, if that makes any sense. I don't think I'm being the most articulate today. Sorry about that. Okay, so on the divine feminine side, she is also coming to this certain sense of commitment about who it is that she is and who she wants to become, but she's doing it in a little bit of a different way. So the divine masculine is seeing the places that he's been in his life and how it is that he relates to the outside circumstances at these different places of, like, in this map of his life. And he's projecting the way that he's seen the past paths and projecting it onto his perception of the future, and seeing how he wants to change that perception for the future. The divine feminine then is looking more within herself than how she relates to the environment. Now, this does have to, like, I mean, there is a certain sense that she's looking at herself and how she relates to the environment, but it's more internalized. It's more about who she has been than how she has perceived where she has been, if that makes any sense. So for the divine feminine, we have the Ice Queen, and this card is in reverse. So on the card it says, ideas preserved, non-action, and entitlement. It has this woman who looks like she's in the snowy landscape, and there's this owl up here above her. And it looks like she's fallen asleep in like the snowy landscape, fallen asleep in the snow. So it's the sense that something has been frozen or stuck, frozen in time. So there's a certain sense that the Divine Feminine is working with ideas about herself, or she has the self-conception that has been frozen from the past, and she hasn't allowed it to thaw out in the present so that she can develop these different ideas about who she is. There's a sense that these ideas need to be thought out. So she's been stuck and frozen in this old way of being, or this old way of perceiving herself. And I get the sense that there's a lot more to her than she's been allowing herself to be. There was a part that I was going to read from the book on this card, but let me see if I still want to. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read this part. It's not the whole thing, but it's a little snippet. Life incarnate is short. When you transition, you take nothing with you from the material world. The Ice Queen calls upon you to release your hold on your relationships, your belongings, your home, and all aspects of your life. Let life flow as it will. Everything is impermanent. Once you recognize that, everything is seen as the living miracle that it really is, and you won't be frozen into self-induced limitations. It's time to let go of ownership in general and be grateful for and enjoy what you've been gifted with. So there's a certain sense that the Divine Feminine is like, in order to hold on to what it is that she feels that she has, and this could be like certain aspects of her life. It could be like her career or her home life, or her identity, like the certain aspects that she feels comprise her identity, or it could even be the relationship with her twin. There's a certain sense of her like holding on, as if like she's holding on to the idea of it, and her hands have become like frozen on, like her hands are like frozen, grasping the thing that she's holding on to, and whatever form that takes. So it's all about like thawing these preconceived notions of who we are and what we can do and what we can become, so that what we really want to create and the dreams that we have can start to manifest within ourselves. So I get this certain sense of like all these old beliefs just like thawing inside of the Divine Feminine this week, if you work with the energies. Now, what's interesting, well, there are a few things that are pretty interesting. We'll start here. The card that's opposite, the card from the same, I chose one card for the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine from this deck, and they're opposite each other. And it's interesting because they're kind of opposite meanings as well. So we had for the Divine Masculine the Commitment card, but for the Divine Feminine we have Coming Apart. Okay, and then it has this this girl who's kind of hunched over, and then there's this mask on either side, and it's almost kind of like a Rorschach test, or like, you know, the way that the image is the same on both sides. And it's the sense of coming apart from the parts of us that no longer represent our authentic selves, or coming apart from who it is that we thought we should be in order to become who we really are. And it's in itself, it's a form of commitment. It's a commitment to become our true authentic selves, right? It's a commitment to leave behind all the old stuff so that we can move on to what it is that we truly desire. And I do get the sense that the Divine Feminine needs to come to the same kind of commitment, the same kind of resolved, committed feeling that I get from the Divine Masculine for herself. This commitment to become who she truly is. And also to step back from this preoccupation with the masculine, so that she can focus more on herself. And as she focuses more on herself, she will be able to get more, I don't want to say attention, but more recognition from the divine masculine, because she's recognizing the true aspects of herself. And so he will be able to recognize those aspects as well. We also have the Garden and the Gate card, and this card just keeps coming up everywhere for me. I don't know if you saw the Field of Dreams reading that I did a couple weeks ago, I think. But it was all about the divine feminine being in this garden, that she, this like garden of her dreams, like the things that she's kind of like dreamed about how she wants her life to be, or how she wants it to unfold, or these things that she's imagined about what life can be. And then there's this field of dreams out here where those dreams actually take like a manifested physical form. But while she's in this garden, it's just kind of like all in her head. And I feel like there's this sense this week where she hasn't necessarily quite stepped out into the field yet in like the physical world, but she needs to step out of it in her mind, if that makes any sense. So she needs to leave all these ideas about who she's been and what she could become in order to step into the actual I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. We get these certain ideas about who we are, and it's very hard to let go of them. So like once we've attached ourselves to an identity, we're going to not allow certain things into our life that would contradict that identity, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, this girl here, if she's been in this garden her whole life, she has this identity. She feels that she has this identity of just being this girl in this garden, this girl who's been isolated, this girl who hasn't ventured out into the rest of the world, if that makes any sense. So if she has this conception of herself, she has this kind of identity that she's just always the girl who's stuck in this garden, can't leave this gate to go out into the field of dreams, then she's not going to be able to. So it's all about getting to a place mentally inside of ourselves and changing that identity. So, for example, like if you're a person who's always felt like you wouldn't, okay, I'll just use an example for myself. So like I used to always be this person who like would not enter relationships with other people. So like that was part of my identity. I was the person who would not do that, if that makes any sense. And so as long as I continue to see myself as a person who kind of holds back from other people and doesn't enter relationships, it's going to continue to be a part of my identity unless I change that identity itself into something else. Hopefully that makes sense. We also have the card, think about it. And with Mercury, being in retrograde, I think these past couple weeks, and I think we have about one more week before it turns direct, possibly something like that, I think. We have the sense of like going within and like thinking about like how it is that we've been and how it is that we've communicated and how it is that we engage with our world. And I mean, again, it kind of ties along with everything else that I've been saying here. It's all about thinking about how it is that we've been so that we can change how we think to get what we want. And there's the Divine Feminine has the Pride card as well. And there's a certain sense of pride that comes along with the identity that we've always held for ourselves. And it can be kind of hard to let go of that identity because of how it's tied to our sense of pride or a sense of who we are, our sense of self. And so to let go of some of those identities can be kind of scary, but in order to get what we actually want, we have to adopt new identities. So before we can become those things, we have to see ourselves as those things. And then the last card that we have for the Divine Feminine is the Become Better card. And this is in quotation marks because better is like a relative term, or they don't mean actually like better. It's just like the better, the more authentic version of ourselves. That's how I'm going to see it, rather than, because there really is no better. There's just more authentic, more real. And on the card it says, discover one thing that would make you better and more empowered at what you do and who you are, and make it a part of your routine. Again, changing these ideas and these thoughts that we have about ourselves, changing the routines that keep those identities in place, changing those things so that we can become better. So yeah, it says discover one thing that would help to empower you, and figure out how to make it a part of your routine. If this is difficult, identify why becoming better is something you wouldn't want to do. Your goal to recognize how and why you sabotage your empowerment. So there's a certain sense that the Divine Feminine has been wanting these things. She's been wanting union, right, with the Divine Masculine. But I do get the sense that we have been sabotaging ourselves in a way, and that's kind of a heavy term. But for lack of a better one, I'm going to go with it. Sabotaging ourselves by not allowing ourselves to reach out for what we want because of the way that we've perceived ourselves in the past. And there's this certain sense on both sides that we need to come to this internal balance before anything can be balanced externally. I was kind of guided to look at the bottom card for two of the decks, but having a hard time speaking. Two of the decks this week. So for the Chakra Insights Oracle, the bottom of the deck was family, the family card. And for the Enchanted Map Oracle, it was the Balancing Act. And on here we have this woman who's holding this string. And there's this boat that's it almost looks like a ring because there's this circle down here. And it looks like there's this boat on a ring. And she's holding this line so that the boat has to be balanced, okay? And it's all about this. Oh, there are also all these little hearts just floating around. I don't know if you can see them. Probably not. But there's this sense that oh, it's also card 11. And this one is card 2. So it's all about coming to this balance within ourselves. We see it again in this card. There's a sense of duality or balance in the Commitment card and the Coming Apart card. It's all over the spread. So finding the balance within ourselves so that it can start to manifest outwardly. Okay, I think that is the end of the reading. I hope it was helpful. I hope I was articulate enough. I feel like I was kind of rambling and not picking the best words or making the most sense, but I hope this was helpful for you. Again, thank you to all of you who have subscribed or liked the videos or left a comment. And again, thank you to those 4 individuals who I worked with last week to do their individual readings for them. If you're interested in watching the 2017 yearly reading for the collective, I'll put that link below, as well as the one for the new moon and the one for my website in case you're interested in a discounted reading. All right, guys, have an excellent week.